What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the 13th episode of the Lob It Up Podcast. 1 week was taken off, but we're here back for lucky number 13. We got a laggy Chris Panette over here. You guys can't tell, but just be patient with us. Boys, how was your week? Sivash, you start first, my man.
I'm good, man. How you doing? I see a little new background. What's going on, man?
Yeah, bit
Did
of a
you
different
did you change it?
location.
Oh, you moved? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
When did that happen?
Yeah,
Congrats.
the Clippers signed me, so I'm actually down here in LA.
Oh, nice.
Ah,
No, I wish, bro. I wish. No, I moved to London. Shout out to you boys for helping me move down here. Definitely looks like a better setup than when you left. It took about a week for it to get all organized and whatnot, but I'm getting a desk in here, so it'll be a new station probably in a couple weeks. But yeah, it's nice for now. I got my couch. I'm lounging. But Chris, how was your week, my man?
my week was pretty good. Nice and chill. I'm trying to think, what the heck did I even get up to? Man, I don't even know. It's weird.
It's been
Went
2 weeks,
by
and
like
this
a
guy's been
blur.
radio silence. Yeah,
This pandemic, she's killing me. She's
yeah,
killing me,
it's
boys.
tough. It's tough. So I mean, now it's been 2 weeks since we had an episode. There's definitely been a lot of news. We've had the Hall of Fame induction ceremony, which was the other day. The play-in tournaments have been decided. Those matchups, we know who's gonna be playing each other in the playoffs. So it's definitely a busy week in the NBA. But Chris, I know you wanted to propose Siavash and I a question, a bit
Yes.
away from the trivia, but more of a, I guess, a an open debate, an open
I'm
conversation, in
up
our
3.
opinion.
You're up 3, see, whatever. Yeah,
Yeah, he's got the
yeah. I was
tally,
thinking
bro.
of
They
because
had to bring a different question because they knew I was gonna dominate.
this guy.
We gotta make the playing field a little more
All
even
right, all
here.
right, all right. I
Like
understand.
I was thinking too. I usually hit you guys with the trivia questions. Yes, see, you're up 3, but we know what happens when people go up 3-1. So
This is true.
it's a trend.
I've experienced it
Yeah,
twice,
Oh yeah.
uh, in two different sports, so I can tell you from the Leafs and the Clippers, it's not fun being up 3-1.
But yeah, I figured maybe we can kind of tweak my little segment here, and I'll get you guys some questions in here. Become a little question master. Maybe even throw up polls for our pods on the gram.
Ooh, I
Get the
like
fans
that.
involved and stuff. So my first question to you boys is, we're no strangers to dynamic duos in the league. You got the ones, you got the twos. You had your Jordans with your Pippins, all of that shenanigans. So this player, well, actually both these players have moved teams several times. Who do you think has been the better duo? Do you think was Kyrie and LeBron in Cleveland, or has it been Kyrie and Durant now here in Brooklyn? And why?
Interesting. See, I'll let you go first on this one.
That's why I'm excited for C's take because I don't know. I feel like C could go either way for me.
I could. I could. What I don't like about this is we've seen what Braun and the Kyrie have done. They
Hmm.
had 4 years together. They went one and sorry, they had 3 years together. They went 1 and 2 in the finals. One of the years Kyrie was injured. The other year it was the super team with Durant and the Warriors. I still would prefer the Kyrie and LeBron dynamic because of the balance it brought. Kyrie was never, he's a great point guard, but he was never that true point guard that could get you 10 assists a game consistently. So he kind of let that off to Braun. Braun would get you the assists. He could move the ball, do the playmaking. Kyrie could do that too at times, but he had that pressure off of him a lot. Now you see that with the Nets, Kyrie's not doing that again. It's James Harden who has that role. So I like that dynamic a lot better. And also, to me, the lob from Kyrie to Braun is always going to be just classic.
Yeah.
Like we saw it against the Raptors, against the Warriors. It's just a
Oh,
classic play.
it is.
So I'm kind of biased in that sense. I'm going with Kyrie and Braun versus rather than Kyrie and Durant.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree as well. I think when I look at the Nets, To be honest with you, Kyrie's my 3. I think that James Harden is the most important player on that team. And just as what Steve Ash said, James Harden is the one that's controlling. He's controlling the offense. He's the one that's the point guard on that team. Where with the Cleveland Cavaliers, Bron was able to make the passes and be kind of the traditional point guard instead of Kyrie. And Kyrie could just go out there and shoot. KD is a scorer. He's an elite scorer. Probably the best scorer we've ever seen in the NBA. Kyrie is also a scorer. You know what I mean? Like Steve Ash said, he's not really a passer. So they're both kind of doing the same thing. Where Braun was also a scorer, focused more on the assist, but he was scoring in a different way than Kyrie would. KD and Kyrie kind of score the same way when it comes to the 3 and whatnot. But yeah, I'll go with the Cavs. I mean, it could also be we've seen what they've done. There's high hopes for the Nets. I think the expectation was set by themselves. You put those 3 players together, doesn't matter who you have around you. The expectation is going to be finals or bust. So we'll see. We'll see at the end of it. How many ever years they spend together. It'd be nice if they have a 4-year sample size, and we'll see what they did. But I'm gonna rock with Kyrie and LeBron.
Before we go ahead, I do want to mention that we talk about 2K a lot on this podcast, and I would like to say I have been undefeated with that Nets team. So, I'd like to see them win a few championships so we can see.
And he scored 88 points with Kevin Durant.
It was D-Rose.
Yeah.
No,
See,
I mean on that Nets team.
For our fans out there, you gotta learn. Siavash, when he plays 2K, the one way to defeat this man is you just gotta figure out what players he's gonna score all of his buckets with. This guy, whether it be Durant, Harden, Kyrie, Steph Curry, Anthony Davis, whoever, he's gonna pick one person on that team, and he's gonna score 90% of the points.
Bro, he sent us a stat line with Luka. He sent us a stat line with Luka scoring 100 points. It's like, bro, what?
Yeah.
Pass the ball.
Okay, you gotta give context. That game, I was playing as a kid. It was an online game. I didn't even know it was a kid.
It's even worse.
The kid scored 16 points the whole game.
That's cyberbullying, Siavash.
Yeah,
I didn't know it was a kid. What do you want me to do?
This guy's just bullying people online.
Hey, bro, listen, I was just trying to get him to quit. Why do I have to play a whole game against a person that cannot score more than 16 points again? All right, let's just go on.
I respect that, though, to be honest with you. I respect him trying to stay in there. At some point, when it's that bad, you got to give up, but I respect the grind to try to stay in there.
Yeah.
I don't. It's wasting time. It's a video game. Go home.
Yeah.
Well, there you have it, folks. I'm very surprised that both of you guys went with the Kyrie LeBron duo. I definitely for sure thought I'd be hearing a KD Kyrie from you, but and we'll ask the fans. We'll see what they got. We'll get a little poll going maybe this week and see what they think as well.
Sorry, Tobias, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask Chris, what's your opinion? What's your thoughts? Who do you think who do you think is the better duo?
My opinion, I am the same way. It is Kevin. Wow, LeBron and Kyrie. I was thinking of Kyrie. I had Kyrie's face in my head, but I don't know why I said Kevin. Now I'm thinking of Kevin McAllister from Home Alone. But
Can I reverse your question back to you with another hypothetical?
Yeah.
Which one of LeBron's duos would you rather have? LeBron and Wade, LeBron and Kyrie, or LeBron and AD?
If I'm LeBron?
If you're a team, you could have LeBron and one of those guys in their primes.
In their primes. Oh, man. See, I loved LeBron and
in their primes.
D-Wade. Yeah, because you got D-Wade the Flash in his prime. He's no slump.
Yeah, I mean, I think who I'm debating between is Wade or Kyrie. To me, AD's third on the list. But maybe it's because right now we're seeing AD's
Yeah.
prime, and to be honest, and in all fairness, we've seen him go out there with this team without LeBron, and they haven't done the best. Whereas we've seen Wade without LeBron, he's done fine because he's been able to carry a team to a championship.
Yeah.
Kyrie is a different enigma. Everybody knows about Kyrie and some of the issues with teammates, whether that be based on the media or fact. He's still interesting, but I think Kyrie's such a good player, and Kyrie in his prime. Well, that would have been Cleveland, but you look at an older Wade in Miami when Braun was there. If you shrink in the years a bit there, and you get like that, 09, 08? What was the year they won the championship?
Wasn't it 06?
06. So if you get 06 Wade and like 2010 Braun,
Bro.
I would say
scary,
prime Wade was probably 09. Like
Yeah.
when you said 09, I think that's when it was prime Wade, and then I think he had an injury with the knee, and that's when
Yeah.
it started going downhill a bit. Yeah.
started going to a bit.
But even still,
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. Like I feel like if we had 100% healthy AD, man. But like I gotta look at it as just not their like off the court or team chemistry thing, but I'm trying to look at them as like just solely like players and like skill levels and things like that. Because like you said, like Kyrie, phenomenal player. But then I start thinking of like some of his issues he has with like his teammates and things like that. And whereas like I don't hear about these issues with like AD, so that's the only thing that like would make me kind of push AD just a little bit. Like it's literally neck and neck for like Kyrie and AD.
Yeah.
But all off court chemistry things aside, I'd probably go with like D Wade, LeBron, Braun, and Kyrie, and then Braun and AD.
Yeah. I think that's my ranking as well.
The Braun and Kyrie era, just it's one of my favorites, man. It's just such a good dynamic.
For
In
sure.
case of which one I think would rather win the most, I think it's difficult not to go with Wade before that.
Yeah.
And you look at the teams, we're just talking about the duos. I think, that ranking is fair because it's also about what other pieces are surrounding these guys.
Sure.
But once you look at just the skill set each of them bring, I think that ranking is very fair.
Mm-hmm.
Even though, I mean, AD is a 40 and 10 on his best day.
Exactly.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
But I feel like it just gets kind of. I mean, it's harder, I guess, I would say, to find like that perfect matchup for like LeBron, like guarding him wise. Just because you can have LeBron literally sit at any position on the court and he's gonna do fine. Whereas like if you have AD and LeBron, it's just LeBron's probably gonna maybe play down in the post, AD's in the post, and you just gotta almost get big, like in the post. Just because AD's shooting's been like a little streaky, but although he did have like a nice game the other day, so
Yeah.
no.
Yeah. Do you have another question that you wanted to pose to us, Chris, or was it just the one?
It was just that one for now, just that one. I was looking up another one, but to be 100% honest with you guys, I lost the picture. So,
Well, I'm glad you're honest.
yes, but yeah, it was another nice little controversial thing like that. But yeah, I'm gonna be getting some more of those for you guys, so that way I'll be asking you, and also we'll still keep like the trivia and stuff like that. But then I figured this way we can get some of like the listeners involved, and especially on the gram, stuff like that. We can hear their opinions too. So
Yeah.
yeah,
CP's hypotheticals. I like that.
the hypos.
Hypos. So speaking of a couple Hall of Famers, potential future Hall of Famers, AD, LeBron, Kyrie, D Wade. This past week we had the Hall of Fame induction ceremony, where obviously the three most notable were KG, Tim Duncan, and of course Kobe Bean Bryant. This is the first time three MVPs have ever been in the same draft class or the same induction class. So kind of cool there. What was your takeaway from this? Obviously they're undisputed first ballot Hall of Famers. Let's just hear your thoughts on the recent induction ceremony.
Chris, go ahead.
I mean, I think all of them, their resumes speak for themselves, right? Their accomplishments, their accolades, everything. If these players didn't make Hall of Fame, that would be probably like the biggest like insult just to the basketball world, the basketball community, because like all of these players did phenomenal things with their teams, right? Whether it be like in their beginning years, their like rookie years where they were just showing out, doing whatever, and then as they settled down into like their more veteran years and like leading like a younger squad, helping to maintain that level of performance, with like the younger guys getting them roped into the systems that their teams are running. So yeah, I love all those guys, and 100% well deserved for all of them.
And I think each one of us had one of those guys in our draft, if I'm not mistaken. I think
so.
Seabass, you took Tim Duncan, right?
Yeah.
And
But
then
I
Chris,
took
you
Tim
took
Duncan from
KG.
him,
Yeah, you took KG in the draft, and then I took Kobe. So I mean,
Mhm.
definitely well represented in our draft as well. But Seabass, what was your takeaway? What were your thoughts on the induction ceremony?
It was it just was a phenomenal weekend, man. Just I mean, to begin with, seeing Tim Duncan again, it was incredible. This guy basically just retired and he's been on the sideline with the Spurs, but we haven't really heard about him.
And
And to see him do interviews now, he's got new hair and he's
yeah, I
got
was gonna say,
Yeah.
can we talk about this
dread.
man's hair? This guy's hair is sick. Why didn't this
Yeah.
guy rock this the dreads in the
Right.
season? He would have been sick. But
Yeah, his hair is sick, man. Him just talking about, I saw a piece with him on the jump with Rachel Nichols on the ESPN thing, and they were just talking about different moments, like the time the referee kicked him out of the game for laughing, or the famous video we've seen with Manu Ginobili putting a cup under him when he was about to sit down. It was incredible,
Yeah.
man, just to hear from Tim Duncan again. But then also seeing leading up to the induction ceremony with Kobe's family, with Vanessa and their daughter, being able to wear a jacket and take the picture, and also MJ being present for the actual speech. It was incredible. It was really a moment.
Yeah, definitely bittersweet with Kobe for sure. I mean,
Yeah.
it sucks, man, because it's like Kobe Bryant. Like I know a lot of people have the conversation when it's Mike or it's LeBron, but I've had people like go to town and argue with me about Kobe being the greatest player of all time, and you judge it on a couple different factors. Impact of the game, influence. We talk about a guy like AI, right? The impact that he had on that era, and then to continue on to today. 5 championships, he multiple time all defensive team. So, this guy's a legend for sure, and that was no question to see him in there. Unfortunately, the tragic loss, we weren't able to see him get the jacket, but yeah, definitely a bittersweet moment. It was nice. I thought Mike was gonna speak, but Mike was just kind of standing up there. But I think it was better, to be honest with you. It was more powerful that way, where Vanessa was able to just speak and kind of speak to the audience, but I think she was speaking to Kobe as well. I mean, kind of being like, "Yo, you did it. Like, you made it. Like, there was never a question that Kobe Bryant was a Hall of Famer." But it's nice to just see it cemented. But then going back to Tim Duncan, it was also cool when he was talking about Greg Popovich. He was talking about the impact that Greg Popovich had on him, not as a coach to a player, but as a human to another human. And he said one thing that I know coaches in the NHL do and hockey do, but it was interesting for him to recognize and realize that a lot of coaches in the NBA don't spend time to try to get to know you. They don't try to meet your family. They're there to work, and they're there to win basketball games. And Greg Popovich is a different person like that. So he's much more than basketball. He realizes that it's about unity and a team bonding and a family, to be honest, at the end of the day. So it was nice to see him get that recognition, even though I think Popovich would be pretty pissed because he's one of those kind of guys where he doesn't want the recognition. He also needs to get his hair cut. I know we're in COVID and stuff,
He's got good
but
hair.
his hair's coming down. Like, he's got like flow coming down and shit. So he's got to get a chop. But
He's at that old
over-
man position that he's just like, I don't care. Bro.
yeah, he's like, I don't give a fuck. Yeah, but yeah. It'll be interesting, to be honest with you, because I don't think he's in the Hall of Fame yet, but he's definitely a Hall of Famer. But obviously his wife passed a couple years ago, so I wonder how many years he has left. But yeah, Greg Popovich is definitely one of the GOATs when it comes to coaching and basketball. For
I
sure.
think the talks with Greg Popovich was that he was going to retire after he coached the 2020 Olympics team. But because of COVID, it got pushed to this
Okay.
year. So it's going to be interesting to see if this season is his last season going into the play-in and everything. And yeah, it was an
Yeah.
interesting ceremony. And we
Yeah.
found out about the next year's class with, I believe,
Yes.
Chris Bosh, Paul Pierce, Tony Kukoc on the international side, Chris Webber.
Mr. IG Live himself.
Yes, guy.
Shout out Paul Pierce. And who was the fourth name? There was another name I'm forgetting about.
I only
Let
knew
me
the
look it up.
3. Oh,
Yeah.
Bosch, Weber. Who you said? Bosch, Weber, Wade, and Paul Pierce.
No, Wade is not in this one.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, he's in the next one. Who was it? Now I'm...
Yeah, I'm gonna find out. Just give me one more. But that's what I'm saying. We were gonna talk about who you guys think would be more likely to get in next, because for anybody that's listening that is not sure, there's a requirement for the Hall of Fame. For you to be able to get into the Basketball Hall of Fame, you need to be fully retired for 3 seasons. And after that, you're eligible to be able to get in. Then they do basically ballots. You're either first ballot or second ballot to get in the Hall of Fame. So somebody like Bosch, he was a second ballot last year. And that's because he was, there was Tim Duncan, KG, and Kobe ahead of him. And this year, now he's a first ballot because there's nobody else ahead of him. So for this coming year, you just mentioned a name that I was just going to throw it out there and say, hey, our guy Wade, I think it's been almost 3 years since he's been retired. I think he's going to be the next one up after this coming year with Bosch, Pierce, and Weber.
Yeah, sorry, just to jump in, Ben Wallace was the other guy
Big
Yep.
I'm trying
man.
to think of.
My man. One of
man.
the centers.
And actually, shout out Bill Russell going in as a coach as well.
Oh,
So kind of cool. Two-time inducted player, coach, person. But yeah, Ben Wallace, Chris Bosh, Chris Webber, and Paul Pierce. But who else do we think that is going in with D Wade? Again, it's hard to think who has 3 years
Yeah.
after, and like it doesn't have to be just 3 years. Like it can be players. Like Chris Webber's been retired for a long time.
Yep.
I don't know. It's hard to like think off the top of your head because I don't know who's inducted or who's not.
So before asking this question, I thought of another name that was Jason Kidd, but he has been inducted.
Okay.
I was just thinking about Paul Gasol. I think he just was playing last year, so I don't think he's going to be
Yeah,
eligible for
technically,
that one upcoming.
Yeah, I was thinking of like Vince Carter, stuff like that too, but he's he retired in 2020, right?
Yeah. Is
Yeah.
T-Mac
So-
in?
I don't think so.
I don't think T Mac's in, but I feel like T Mac too is like another nod.
I think a name that I thought of, and I'm not sure, I think it's been 3
Jamal
years for
Crawford?
him, is Tony Parker.
Oh yeah, Tony Parker.
What would you say?
I was poking fun at myself when I said Jamal Crawford.
Oh, Jamal Crawford still says he's not retired,
I
so
know.
rightfully so. I don't think he should be in the Hall of Fame yet.
I'm surprised. When did Tony Parker retire again?
2018, 19-ish, I think.
Okay.
He was with the Hornets.
Oh yeah.
The last season he moved to the Hornets, and that was it. I think Manu Ginobili retired around the same time. Yeah, it's kind of tough. There are some years, we look at this year, it's such a star-studded lineup of Hall of Famers that you kind of forget that there's been years that we don't really know anybody on that list. Or we're like, oh, okay, Jason Kidd got in, cool. This year is literally 3 of the greatest players we've seen to play in the last 20 years.
Yeah.
I just checked something real quick, and it was saying the 2023 Hall of Fame induction ceremony, which would be the year after, is likely to be Tony Parker, Dwayne Wade, and Dirk Nowitzki.
Big Dirk.
Dirk
yeah,
Nowitzki, because he just retired. He wasn't playing last year. He wasn't playing this year, but he was playing the year before. So, yeah, one more season, and he'll be eligible. So Dirk Nowitzki's another,
Yeah.
superstar level player. That was a NBA great for sure. He
Yeah.
can go in that class.
And wasn't he like the best like European man to play the game? Something like that. So
Best international player to play
Yeah.
the game.
Yeah,
so
yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. And it's interesting. We were just talking about Ben Wallace, I think, a few weeks ago with Tobias's Hall of Fame or not session. And it's incredible to see these guys get in at this time. There's names that, again, somebody like Chris Webber, he hasn't played, I think, since 2005 or 2006. And he doesn't get in for at least 15 years. But that's because every year there's all these ballots and all these Hall of Famers.
Yeah, I wonder if being in the media also helped Chris Webber. His face and his voice being out there again. Maybe they're like, oh yeah, Chris Webber. And it was nice to see Ben Wallace because he's a guy where I think it could go either way. Yes, you won a championship, but as we talked about in our draft, the stat line doesn't pop out to you. But his impact with the team and on the court, that can't be quantified. So definitely good to see the Fro get in on the Hall of Fame for sure. He's a beast, bro.
yeah.
So you mentioned the play-in tournament. I forget what you had mentioned, but the Spurs. The Spurs are in the play-in tournament. So the play-in tournament does start this week. Sunday night, last night. Well, I guess you'll hear this on Tuesday, but Sunday night, probably the craziest night in the NBA. So many games depended on, or so many different playoff positions depended on so many different games. I think it was like if Portland wins and Dallas loses and the Lakers lose, Portland gets the 5th seed. But if Portland wins and Dallas wins and the Lakers lose, they get the 6th seed. But if Portland loses and the Lakers win and Dallas, they get the 7th seed. So it was crazy. And shout out to Portland. Shout out to Damian Lillard. I don't know if you guys saw that viral tweet where a guy made a bet at the start of the season. He needed Portland to win at least 42 games. He put basically his house down on it. Yeah, it was crazy. So Dame replied to him after last night. He's like, I want to see this virtual bet.
Let me see the ticket.
Let me see what happens. So shout out to Dame for coming through and fulfilling his promise. But what matchups do you guys like the most? Looking at the West, we've got, I believe it's the Grizzlies and the Spurs. And then we've got the Lakers and the Golden State Warriors. What matchups do you like? Who do you think is going to win those matchups? Let's hear your thoughts.
Chris, go ahead.
I like the Grizzlies and the Spurs. Just because you've got
John Morant.
Well, yeah, you've got John Morant on Memphis, but I'm trying to let me look at their squad because they're still a fairly young-ish squad,
For sure.
right? And then you've got the experience of Popovich. He's been there. He's been here how many times? How many times has he been to the playoffs and stuff, right?
21 years, yeah.
It's ridiculous. So there's so much experience behind the Spurs, and if they just get it clicking, it could be an easy dub for them.
Yeah.
But Memphis has turned around and pulled out some dubs just out of the thin air. But what I'm most excited about though is to see this Lakers Warriors thing. I love when Steph and LeBron get together, the yipping, the talking, and all this stuff.
Yeah.
The two guys just going at it. It's sick. Fires me up. So, but I don't think Steph will be enough by himself to take down the Lakers.
Now, be careful, because I haven't looked into it too much, but I did get a notification that in Sunday's game, LeBron looked like he tweaked his ankle.
Oh.
He had a bit of an ankle sprain, so I don't know if he's going to be ready to go for, I think it's Tuesday they play. It's Wednesday they play. I don't know if he'll be good to go for then. That's still a couple days away. I think LeBron's that kind of guy where he's just let's get into the playoffs and we'll worry about it then.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, just be careful about that.
But I think if you're looking at a healthy Lakers squad, yeah, Steph's not going to be enough.
Mm-hmm.
like yes, Draymond is probably one of like the best defensive players like in the league, but he's also not scoring like a fuck ton of points, so he's not really like a viable option like out there for Steph. So, what about you, C?
Can we talk about LeBron's dancing on that Sprite commercial with his two
I didn't
people?
see this.
Oh yeah, everybody is saying it's
My guy
his
was
salsa dancing.
salsaing. Oh my god, bro! This guy came out and said, "Oh, I don't know if my ankle's ever going to be the same. I don't know if I'm ever going to be 100% again." And this guy was going crazy with the salsa and going, dude, this dance. And now you tell me he tweaked his ankle. I'm not worried about this guy, bro. He'll be
Yeah,
fine.
But to
exactly.
be
Yeah.
fair though, that
This
could have
guy
been
is
like filmed like a little bit ago, prior to the tweak. You never know though.
ain't no way. He's been out for like 2 months. No way they filmed this like 4 or 3 months ago.
I don't know. You never know.
Hey,
Move
I,
magic.
You gotta check his hairline to see if it's
Yeah.
Yeah.
more recent or if it's
Well,
a fresh
obviously, you
pattern.
know when he's off the court, that shit's crisp. The sweat's
Yeah.
not running.
He's getting
down and
he's getting the
all that.
plugs. He's getting the plugs deep in there. Speaking of hairlines, KD is in tough right now. He's got
Both KD
something
and
going on
Bron.
the back, bro.
The back of
KD,
the
It's
head?
like,
Oh my
I saw the
God.
back of his head the other day. I was like, "What is that, dude? Like, what?"
The guy needs
Yeah,
to make
he's
friends
looking
with a
tough.
hairbrush, bro. Like this guy's hair is never brushed. I don't know what the hell is going on with like the back of his head. But it's like, man, the league's got to start allowing players to rock like do rags or something in game. Just cover that shit up, bro. Like it's
Nah, he
terrible.
keeps wearing the beanies. He keeps wearing the beanies in the
Then
summer
True.
and
let
winter.
the man rock a fucking beanie. while He's playing
On the court,
bro. I'm tired of
Imagine.
looking at it. Like,
Bro,
basically just play on Rucker.
yeah.
me and Chris knew a guy that we used to get like our ass beat by him on the ball court. And one time he pulled up on a beanie and he
Pause.
cooked everybody. Big pause. Big pause.
Super class. You talking
I'll
about Earl?
apologize. No, I'm talking about. I'll tell you the name.
It's
after.
only because we're talking about bad hairline. And
Oh, I didn't.
beanies
No, don't do
Earl-
that.
Earl's
Don't do that
got
to my guy.
Earl Sylvester Hall, bro. You're a fucking beauty, but man,
Come
that
on,
hairline.
man.
This man's getting
It's tough.
exposed.
I wasn't
He
even talking
knows.
about Earl.
He knows.
This guy's like, yo,
He knows. Okay, like
Don't
I'll
do
call
my
him
guy
up
Earl
right
like
now.
that,
He
bro.
knows.
Nah, don't do my guy Earl. I love you, Earl.
That's
I
what I'm
got you,
saying.
bro.
That's what I'm
I'm
saying.
gonna cut this out. I'm gonna
love
cut this
Earl.
out.
Love Earl from the bottom of my heart, but he knows. Okay,
This is all gonna be cut out. Movie magic.
it better not be cut out.
Bro.
Yeah, I would probably take the Lakers over the Warriors on that. And honestly, I could care less about the Grizzlies and the Spurs. I want to see the Lakers and the Warriors in the playoffs. There's a lot of conversation about if this playing stuff is worth it. And the Wizards, Scott Brooks, the coach, came out and said, "I agree with the King. The guy should be fired. The guy that came up with this idea, because now the Wizards are in the 8th seed and they have to play in the tournament, play the playing tournament to be able to fully make it to the playoffs." So I think I honestly, if the plane wasn't a thing right now, I would be happy.
Even though it's
The-
kind of funny that there was a clip of LeBron saying it was a good idea.
Is there?
There is, because I was like, I swear I've heard him like agree with it, and then I did see an older clip where he's like nah, but then I saw a clip as well where I'll find it and I'll send it to
Yeah.
you guys. But I remember him saying, "Oh yeah, okay," because at that time he's thinking, "Well, I'm not gonna have to deal with it, so whatever, right?" But now that he has to deal, he's like, "Yo, this is fucking bullshit, man." Like, yeah,
No, it's funny you
Um,
say that because I saw the clip of the first time they brought it up to him, and he's like, "Nah, this is crap." And then I
Yeah.
heard there's a second clip. That's why I was
Yeah.
kind of not sure about it.
yeah. But moving over to the East, you mentioned Scott Brooks, the coach of the Wizards. Shout out to the Wizards, man. Shout out to the Wizards. Brody doing Brody things. Bradley Beal, just lighting it up as well. They're taking on the Celtics in the play-in tournament, and the Hornets, my second squad, the Charlotte Hornets, LaMelo Ball, they're taking on the Indiana Pacers. I want to hear your guys' thoughts on the Wizards and Celtics, because Bleacher Report released an article where they gave their predictions on the matchups for the play-in tournament and who they thought was going to win. And there's 5 writers that they reached out to. All but one said that the Wizards were going to beat the Celtics, which I found very interesting.
I'm not mad at that.
I'm
You look at what the
same.
Yeah.
Celtics have been like this past 6 months. They're not that team. I mean, they went to the conference finals last year, and for them to be this broken, this team that sometimes figures us out, but then they're back to being bad. Jason Tatum drops 60 the next game. He's not that good. They're very inconsistent. And man, before Jaylen Brown's injury, I was really excited to see them in the play-in because I
Yeah.
thought they would be a good seventh lock. I thought, man, look at the Nets. If the Nets are the second seed and they gotta go through the Celtics, then the Bucks and the 76ers, that's a tough route. But I'm not confident with the Celtics after that Jaylen Brown injury, the very unfortunate injury that happened. I think it was 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. And
What
Uh,
is it? What's why? What's wrong with the Celtics? Because you look at them on paper and you think, okay, this is an elite Eastern Conference team. This is the top four seeded Eastern Conference team. What is it that is just not working for them? Is it a missing piece? And if so, what is that piece in your guys' opinion?
I don't even know because even just thinking back to like our earlier episodes, because how many times have we talked about the Celtics and how
Mm-hmm.
steady the Celtics are? We even did like an episode on like what when they were rocking in like they were like the third or whatever seed, fourth seed,
yeah,
and we
somewhere
thought about
around
like
there.
what do these teams maybe need from like these seeds, and like I remember picking
Yeah.
Boston and being like, you know what, again that same thing on paper, Boston was solid and they didn't really need any pieces, but now you're looking at the end of the season and it's like, what have you guys been doing? Have you guys just been
Mm-hmm.
going out game after game and laying your jerseys on the ground saying we got a 5-man squad out there?
Well,
Like,
Tristan Thompson has been going out, but yeah.
like, it's brutal. I don't know. This is like, and even like some of my buddies who are like hardcore Celtics fans have been like, man, like I can't stand to watch the Celtics right now. Like it's they're garbage.
Actually, you know what? I think you might have just solved the riddle. See if Ashley, you just
You
brought up
think it's
Tristan
TT?
Thompson. Tristan Thompson, Khloe
Canadian legend.
Kardashian, the Kardashian curse, bro.
There's no
Everything they touch turns
Kardashian
to shit.
curse.
Everything they touch turned to shit. So
What I
I don't know.
brought up
Maybe
with Sorry, but what I brought up with the Tristan Thompson stuff has been a story since I think the All Star break, because there was talks about how the teammates were unhappy with the fact that he was constantly going out, breaking protocol with the COVID stuff, and it was an interesting back and forth. Because then the teammates came out and said, "No, we love Tristan. He's great,"
yeah,
and
I love when
and
they
you
do that.
ask, yeah, and you ask like, what is wrong with them? I really think Brad Stevens is not a good coach when it comes to controlling the locker room, and I say that from watching the Celtics, watching them since the time Kyrie was there, and everybody said, "Oh, Kyrie's the problem. Kyrie is that guy," but I really think if Brad Stevens was a guy that controlled the locker room, control those young guys at the time, and be able to control his team, I think that team would have been very incredible, and they could have gone very far in the playoffs.
Maybe we Brad Stevens came into the league and we all thought he was this elite coach. He is a very smart, high IQ coach, but maybe he's one of those coaches. I am always gonna forget the name, so you're gonna have to bring it up. Maybe he's a Dwayne Casey. Maybe he's Buddy from Golden State. Mike Brown? Is it Mike Brown?
Mike Brown was there, but the guy before Steve Kerr was I do not remember his name either.
Yeah, but maybe he's that guy. Maybe we thought he was an elite coach, and he thought he was one of these powerhouse coaches, like a Greg Popovich, like a Doc Rivers, like a Nick Nurse. But maybe he's that interim guy. I'm gonna lead you to where you need to be, bring in a new guy, and there's your championship team. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's his role.
I mean, and it's kind of crazy because that team has been in the conference finals in the past 5 years at least two, three times. And they went up against the 2017 Cavs with Isaiah Thomas, the year after with Jason Tatum against LeBron, and then they were in it I think last year. It's
Mm.
kind of crazy, right? And yeah, I don't know. And there's one interesting thing I remember hearing. I think I was listening to Mismatch. They were saying how every rookie on that team from last year has gone better.
Mm-hmm.
On paper, you look at this team. You talked about on paper, this team is great. There's
Yeah.
no reason why this team should not be performing. But all the COVID stuff and just the team not being able to have a hold over themselves, it's not been the same.
Yeah. So you guys are both rocking with the Wizards then over the Celtics.
Chris?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna rock with the Wizards. You know, this squad has had their head down. They've been rocking with it. They've been doing what they need to do. It hasn't been pretty at times, but like they're just making the best of it, and they pushed, and they made it a big push,
Yeah.
and they made it. So I feel like that hard work will be rewarded, and I feel like they will beat the Celtics, but then it will not be easy after the fact because they're gonna have like a long push because it's what they win. They are what playing? Who is it?
Well, they
So
win
the
the
Nets.
the
seven,
way.
eight.
If they win, they go to seventh, right? And then they'd be playing the Nets.
Yep.
Yeah, and if they lost, they'd be playing whoever won 9 and 10 to keep for like the eighth seed, right? And I
Yeah.
feel like they could beat whoever they play 9 and 10 anyways, and they'd be stuck playing Philly. So like Philly or the Nets, it's gonna be like a hard run for like that squad.
I will say, deep part of me wants to see the Celtics lose and have to face the Hornets for the revenge game of Gordon Hayward and what's his name? Terry? Terry
But
was here.
Gordon Hayward is injured.
I think
Again?
they said he's gonna be back. He's
Okay,
gonna say it
okay.
again.
But Scary Terry
what?
is there. That'd be interesting.
He said again?
Oh my god, this guy spends more time in a fucking hospital bed than he does in his fucking team's bench. It's crazy.
Yeah, and he's making bank too.
Yeah, that's
30
true.
mil. Puts me in
Speaking
the
of the
hospital
Hornets,
for 30 mil. Pause.
speaking of the Hornets, you got the Hornets and the Pacers. Who are you rocking with over there?
I'm just gonna turn the TV off, bro. What am I
I'm
watching?
not
Yeah,
even watch.
So that's similar to you, like for over in the West with
Yeah.
the Spurs and the Grizzlies.
Like,
Okay.
and again, LaMelo's a very exciting player, but since he's been back from the injury, he's had a few highlights, but he hasn't been this similar. He hasn't been the same. So I don't really have a reason. I'm sorry, I no disrespect to those players, but it's not like a LeBron versus Curry situation where I'm like, I have to watch this, or Russell Westbrook and Bradley Beal versus Jason Tatum
Oh,
and
that's
Kemba
gonna be
Walker.
so good, bro. I'm so excited for those matchups.
This is incredible. I want to see that. But again, when it comes to those 9 and 10 seeds in both conferences, I don't think there's somebody I want to watch.
I know there's somebody you
decides
want to watch.
if they
Don't
take
lie.
it.
There's somebody you want to watch.
Who?
I missed it.
T.J. Warren.
T.J. Warren.
No. He's not even playing.
Is he injured too?
Yeah.
Oh my
Yes.
god. You know what? It's probably from. You know what? I get it. He probably shot the lights out in the gym. Couldn't see walking out.
Okay.
Slipped, tweaked his ankle. It is what it is. Poor guy. Happens to the best of them.
Is TJ Warren the Kobe White, like Chris's Kobe White?
No, I just do it now just to
Yeah,
Yeah.
troll you guys.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
Nah,
That
that's
is
it. TJ Warren.
So we discussed the play-in matchups. What's your overall feeling about the play-in tournament? You know, just speaking at the end there, we talked about those matchups between the Wizards and the Celtics and the Lakers and the Warriors. And I think that is going to be really good basketball because you're fighting for a playoff spot, right? And these, especially those 8-9 or those 9-10 seeds, they're literally fighting for the last spot. And I just want to get your opinion because obviously LeBron, not a fan of it. Maybe some players are, maybe some players aren't. But as a fan, as a viewer, what's your actual opinion on the play-in tournament?
Again, I agree with Chris from the fan perspective. Yeah, it's great. I think if your team's at the 10th seed, you're like, okay, we have a chance. So from that perspective, I think it's incredible. But you gotta look at the perspective from the 7-8 seed. For example, the Celtics. What if they have 2 bad games in a row? Then they're out of the playoffs. So for them, that is also I wish they did it similar to last year's model, where I believe it was you have to win 2 games in a row against a team to be able to kick him down. And if the team that's above you in the standing only wins 1, you're lost the series, basically. So I wish they did that with the 7-8 seed and also the 8th versus the 9th or 10th seed. I don't think they're able to do that, especially with the season being shortened this year, and they have to kind of try to finish it up so they can get back in the flow of things for next year. But I think if they do it that way, it's more. I think it's better for the team that has that advantage. They got to give them an advantage. It can't just be a one-game series. You can have just one bad game and then you're out of the playoffs after working all year. I don't think that's cool. I don't think it should. I think if you've been shit as in like the 10th seed, then I think you should work on it a little bit more than just winning 2 games, and making the 8th seed. I think I think that's just an easy bailway. We would love, for example, if the Warriors were the 10th seed, we would be like, yes, this is great. We can see Steph in the playoffs. But now that they're the 8th seed, we kind of don't care.
Mm-hmm.
But that's my opinion.
It's kind of that Super Bowl playoff kind of setup with the 1-game wins, 1-game loses. You know, it really kind of structures where you're going to be a week from now, right? You could be in the playoffs, you could be out of the playoffs. Yeah, man, if the Celtics miss, like if they lose 2 games, they need to take a long look at themselves. That'll be interesting.
I think I heard Bill Simmons say they will not be looking at Brad Stevens before they will be looking at the front office first.
Like Danny Ainge.
That might be.
Because that's the thing, bro. Like Danny Ainge, he gets a lot of respect because he made one massive trade. He made that KG and Paul Pierce trade to the Nets 10 years ago. And like you can only hold on to that for so long, man. And I think you haven't really, maybe you've made a small tinker here and there, but you haven't done anything that's really catapulted your team since then. So.
I think he's made some other trades that didn't go to their favor by chance. I think they had the Sacramento pick 2-3 years ago, and they had 2 years ago, and they had the Memphis Grizzlies pick last year. Both times, these teams basically almost made the playoffs. The Kings, I think, were the 9th seed 2 years ago, and the Grizzlies missed out after the playing games against the Blazers. I think that's just luck with that. But you look at the trades he made with Kyrie Irving and Isaiah Thomas, I think that was a pretty good trade. But at the same time, I think he should have taken a bigger risk. When Kawhi was available, I think they could have had him. And I think at the time Kyrie was on that team still. So
via trade, sorry, okay.
They could have threw in Jaylen Brown, and I don't know, maybe one or two of those picks that ended up being nothing with the Kings and the Grizzlies picks. I think those picks. I mean, again, these are hindsight. The expectation of both those teams were supposed to be bad, and they ended up not being so good the year after with the Kings. But yeah, I think they could have made a trade for Kawhi. You got Kyrie, Kawhi, Jason Tatum. It's a pretty good team, I would say. I think that team could have won that finals that year.
Wow. Yeah, it'll be interesting. I'm excited to see it. I'm excited for this week. We'll be back for another earlier episode. We're gonna break down some of the playoff matchups.
Don't go with the sauce. We're gonna be back on Tuesday.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, so obviously this episode, thanks for listening to the Lob It Up Podcast. This episode we broke down our opinion on the Hall of Fame induction ceremony. We had a great hypothetical question that Chris brought us. Which duo do you rock with better from the LeBron career? Was it AD, was it Wade, or was it Kyrie? I think we're all in agreement that it would be Wade. And then we also broke down the play-in tournament. What our opinions were on it, the matchups, who we think are going to win. I think it's going to be interesting. I'm excited for this week of basketball. These trade talks at the end really got me hype. I want to kind of play 2K right now. So thanks for listening again to the 13th episode of the Lob It Up Podcast. Peace.